Can you guess this idiom from this picture? What can you see in the picture? Where is it? What could it mean? Keep watching to learn this idiom and 20 more. Welcome to Lingo Shots. In today's lesson, I'm going to share with you 21 idioms that you should use in your vocabulary to help you not only sound like a native speaker, but also to help you understand native speakers better, perhaps when you're watching your favorite series on Netflix. Don't forget, idioms like these can also help you get a very high IELTS band score. Okay, let's begin. How many of these idioms can you guess? Maybe from the picture or from the definition. Let's look at the first one. So what can you see in the picture? We know they are pigs. What are the pigs doing? Have you heard an idiom with pigs and with that verb before? Let's look at the definition. So this is what you say when something is very unlikely to happen. Maybe you think you'd like to see a world where people don't argue on the internet. What might you say if somebody suggests that? And the answer is pigs might fly. You could also say when pigs fly or pigs may fly. Any variation like that is okay. And here's another example. If you've got children, you might relate to this when they promise to tidy their bedrooms, and you might say, yeah, pigs might fly. Okay, how about this one? What can you see in the picture? And what adjective might you use to describe it? Let's look at the definition. So this refers to somebody who quits something instantly. Well, it refers to the act of quitting something instantly. So it does not refer to somebody who might have 20 cigarettes on Monday, 15 cigarettes on Tuesday, 10 cigarettes on Wednesday. That would be cutting down on something. This is when you completely quit. You smoke 20 cigarettes on Monday and then 0 on Tuesday and 0 ever again. Can you guess it? Okay, here's the answer. It is to go cold turkey. And you could also use this as a kind of adjective phrase to describe somebody, as in this example. So Jake used to drink a lot, but he's been cold turkey ever since his wedding. Okay, let's go on to the next one. What can you see in this picture? So here's some more vocabulary for you. A silhouette. And this word means when you see a shadow of something with a familiar shape that you recognize. So in this case, I think we'd agree it is a silhouette of a kind of rabbit. And where is the rabbit? What is the rabbit doing? Let's look at the definition of this one. This one is about obsessively researching something. And many of you will probably relate to being tired, maybe at 10:30 p.m. or 11 o'clock, ready for bed, and then suddenly you see some interesting fact about a really strange thing that you didn't know. The life cycle of a jellyfish, or about different kinds of volcanic eruptions, or something like that. And then 3 hours later at 2 a.m. you are still in bed in the dark, staring at your phone, reading about all of these random things. So, have you guessed the answer? This one is to go down the rabbit hole. And here's an example from my own experience where I didn't really know anything about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, and then I found out something interesting about it and I really went down the rabbit hole and I learned about it non-stop for many weeks. So, okay, let's look at another one. Here's the picture. What can you see happening? Now for this one, just for the grammar, imagine you can see 2 horses, not just one. So what can you see happening? Here's a definition. We say this to mean something like stop, wait, don't act yet. We have some more information. So this one has 3 words. The middle word is your, and the first and last words start with H. You should already know the last one because I just told you it about 30 seconds ago. Okay, this one is hold your horses. You have some new information, which means that you should not do something, or you should wait until you are ready. So here's an example. Maybe a party has been cancelled, you're about to leave, and somebody says, hold your horses, the party's off. We must make other plans instead. Okay, let's look at another one. All right, what can you see in this one? What is the noun which might refer to any or all of things like lightning, thunder, rain, wind? That's what you can see. What is the noun? A short word beginning with S. And where is that noun happening? Okay, let's look at the definition for this one. This is an argument or controversy which is really not important. It's not worth getting upset about. So maybe you've been in a situation where your friends are getting really angry with each other and you just feel like it's really not something worth arguing about. So this one is a storm in a teacup. And here is another example sentence. So you'll relate to this if you have children. They quite often fight over stupid things that don't matter, and then they are best friends again 5 minutes later. Let's look at another one. This one is very difficult. What can you see in the picture? What kind of animal? Can you think of a word that also means cow? Because it's not buffalo, but it does begin with B. What about a male cow? And where is this male cow? Okay, here's a definition. This refers to people with a lot of energy and who might be accidentally dangerous. Maybe they don't intend to be dangerous. And I don't mean like dangerous like will kill people or something. I mean dangerous like they might fall over or accidentally hurt somebody by mistake. So this one is a bull in a china shop. And you might wonder, why China? China is also an uncountable noun, which refers to a kind of old plates and cups and things like that. So here's an example sentence. The kids were running around like bulls in a china shop, which means you're worried they're going to knock things over, break things, maybe knock your laptop off the coffee table or something like that. Okay, next, what can you see? What is the boy doing? And what else can you see in the picture? Okay, I'm going to give you the definition now. So if somebody is very upset about something that already happened, they can't change it, there's nothing they can do about it. Something that is not important maybe, or something that is not in their control. So I'm going to give you the first letter of each word. So 4 words, C-O-S-M. One of my students recently guessed cry out some milk, which amused me a lot because I just imagine milk coming out of people's eyes. No, if you guessed that, that's completely wrong. Although some of the words might be correct. The answer is to cry over spilt milk. And here is an example. So in this example, Jeff has booked a flight and his seat has already been chosen for him, and he doesn't have a window seat and he's not happy. Now he can't change anything about it, but he keeps complaining about it. So maybe his wife might say, "Stop crying over spilt milk." Okay, let's look at the next one. This one, the picture's maybe not the best. You can of course see an animal, and the animal is included in that idiom. Let's go straight to the definition. This is what you might say when you have a feeling like somebody is lying or something dishonest is happening. So can you think of a verb related to this? And what can you see on the screen? Okay, the answer is to smell a rat. Somebody's trying to cheat you. So an example from my own experience recently, I bought a second-hand Samsung phone, like a recent model, which should cost anywhere between 15 and 20 million new. Sorry, I should specify the currency there, or you're going to think I'm paying $20 million for a phone. I'm talking about Vietnamese dong, which is nowhere near that amount of money. But yeah, second-hand, this phone should cost maybe 7 million, 10 million, and people were offering it to me on Facebook for 2 million. So I smell a rat. In that case, I expect the phones were stolen, so I didn't want to buy them. Here is another one. What animals can you see, and what are they inside? Okay, let's look at the definition. So this is to start talking about a controversial topic that might upset people. You might have said tin, but for this idiom it can open the can of worms. Okay, let's look at an example. Don't talk about politics. It will open a can of worms. We see this every day on the internet. Somebody says their opinion and then 200 people comment on it. It's opening a can of worms. Remember, idioms like these are very useful if you want to get a high IELTS band score. In many cases, it's the difference between IELTS band 7 or getting a band 8 or 9 is to use idioms in your speaking exam naturally and correctly. So let's learn as many as we can. Okay, this is the one from the start of the video. Did you guess the answer? Person who seems trustworthy but is actually dishonest. And that is a snake in the grass. And there we have the example again. Trevor kissed my wife right after the wedding. So that is a perfect example of a snake in the grass. It's someone who you trusted enough to invite to your own wedding. Best avoid Trevor. Okay, for this one, try to look at the two small pictures at the top left and the top right of the main image to guess the idiom. And the main image is more for context from the example I'll show you later. So this one means to be very interested and then very uninterested in a person or a thing, or maybe an event or something like that. So many of you can relate to this in the dating game. Somebody seems very interested in you and you're very excited because you like them, right? And then you keep looking at your phone and, oh great, there's another message. And then the next day you message them, hey, how's it going? And then, oh, nothing, great. And then you look again later and still nothing. And then maybe the day after that they start chatting to you again and you don't know where you stand. This one is to blow hot and cold. And here is an example of that. As I just explained, maybe one day he's buying you flowers and the next day he's not answering you at all. He's blowing hot and cold. Maybe you should choose somebody else. Okay, let's look at the next one. What can you see in the picture? What is the uncountable noun? And what is the verb? We know you can see a woman. What is she doing? Here is the definition. So, accept and suffer unpleasant consequences. Maybe you've done something wrong or you've broken the law and now you've been caught and you have no choice but to suffer the consequences. Okay, so 3 words. The middle word is the. First word begins with F and the last word begins with M. And the answer is face the music. Jessie didn't pay any tax on her second job and she's been caught. She'll have to face the music. If she's lucky, it might just be a fine. So a fine, of course, is just a financial penalty, so you don't go to prison. Okay, next idiom. What comes out of your kettle when the water has boiled and you can burn your hand with it? Okay, the definition. This means to relieve pressure. Okay, the idiom is to blow off steam. Now, a healthy way to blow off steam would be to go to the gym and lift weights. Okay, next one. We can see a baby. What can you say about the baby in this picture? This means to be born in a very rich family. Just in front of the baby's face, what can you see? So the answer for this one is to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And this means to be born in a rich family. Here's an example. So other kids might have to work very hard to be successful, but maybe your parents will provide you everything. Maybe you already know your parents own 5 or 6 houses and you know you're going to get at least one of them at some point in the future. Remember, these idioms will help you get a high IELTS band score. Think about how you can use them in some IELTS Part 1 or Part 3 speaking questions. So, for example, you might be asked to compare what it is like being rich and poor. And you might say, well, some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they don't have as many worries in their lives as a poor person does. So think of ways that you can just make a simple, quick sentence to include some of these idioms in the context of IELTS Part 1 and Part 3 questions. You can, of course, find these questions all over the internet very quickly. Okay, let's move on to another one. So this one, again, is connected with the topic of wealth. Now, in this picture, you can see some very poor housing. You can also see a very impressive mansion, which would be home to a very, very rich person. So this idiom refers to the process of being very poor and then suddenly becoming extremely rich. So this could happen through winning the lottery or something like that. Or it could happen through suddenly becoming very successful. So this one, the idiom is from rags to riches. If you go from rags to riches, it means like you were wearing really old clothes and suddenly you are very wealthy and now you have diamond necklaces and things like that. So here's an example. On screen you can see something about a woman called Jill who might be struggling to raise children as a single mother, but suddenly her online business took off. So in this context, she went from rags to riches. Okay, next one. What is he doing? What animals can you see? So let's look at the definition. Don't make plans that rely on a future event that might not happen. Have you done that before? Okay, this idiom is to not count your chickens. And we often say before the eggs hatch. But usually we would just say don't count your chickens. Don't rely on something. So here is a definition. Maybe you expect you're going to get an amazing job you applied for and you start planning your dream holiday. But then you don't get the job and you don't have enough money for your dream holiday. Okay, moving on. What can you see in the picture? We need a little bit more information from this one. So there's lots of food on the table and there's a woman about to eat it. Do you think she can eat all of that food? So this one is to be so hungry you think you can eat more food than you can actually fit in your stomach. Let's look at the answer for that one. Your eyes are bigger than your belly. It's okay if you say stomach, but where I'm from, we often say your eyes are bigger than your belly. So there is an example. Melissa is never going to be able to eat all of that food. Her eyes are bigger than her belly. Okay, this one. What is the girl doing? What verbs can you think of relating to your eyes pointing at something? And what can she see? So this idiom means to just look into the distance and not focus on anything. So for example, you know that look people have on their face where you're trying to talk to them, tell them something, and they're clearly not paying any attention? So this idiom refers to that. Okay, this one. The middle word is into, and the verb which means to look at something begins with S. And the noun that she's looking at also begins with S. Can you guess it? And the answer is to stare into space. And here is an example. Again, imagine that look on your face. Maybe children are doing it when they're bored. This one is another one connected with chickens. So what can you see and what are they in? So this means to only have one plan for your future and no other backup plan. It could be a problem if something goes wrong. Can you guess what it is? Okay, here's the answer. To put all your eggs in one basket. It's not really a good idea. So here's an example. Maybe you are an investor. Maybe you have $10,000 to invest and you decide to put all of your money into one company. What happens if that company fails? Well, of course, you lose all of your money. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it is a good idea. Maybe the company is successful, but it's more risky. And that's what this idiom is about. It's about taking too much risk. Okay, let's move on to another one. And oh look, it's another one connected with chickens. So this one is not too easy from the picture. Let's look at the definition. So this is when consequences happen to somebody who has done some bad or negative things. So maybe something you did in the past and you hoped that maybe you got away with it, you didn't get caught. It might not even be like a morally bad thing, it might be some bad habits that you had and then you suffer the consequences with your health or something like that in future. So the answer for this one is the chickens have come home to roost. And here is an example sentence. A man gambled all of his money and could not afford to pay the fees for his children's education, with predictable consequences for his marriage. This is the last one. What can you see in the picture? And the definition. We say this about someone who lies so often that you don't believe anything they say anymore. What can you see in the picture? What two things can you see? Can you connect those things with a verb, which means water coming out of your eyes? But we also use that verb to mean shout or complain loudly. Okay, this one is the boy who cried wolf. So somebody who repeats a lie so often and one day they do actually have something important to tell you that is true, but you don't believe them at all. So here is the example. And in that case, we would see that it's a child who is lying about being bullied. And then, of course, the cameras show it wasn't true. So one day maybe somebody is bullying him and nobody believes him because he is the boy who cried wolf. Okay, that's the end of this idiom quiz. How many did you get correct? Don't forget, if you're looking to improve your IELTS and also improve your general speaking, or just be able to communicate more easily with native speakers, or maybe understand what's going on in your favorite Netflix series, subscribe to our channel because we're going to upload lots of videos like this regularly. So make sure you subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon because then you'll get notified every time we make a new video. Thanks for watching.